Yo, so just back from the cinema. I went to watch the Alto Knights. This is the new film from Barry Levinson. It is written by Nicholas Pileggi. I think that's how you say it. I know I'm wrong, but what can you do, right? The film is produced by Charles Winkler, David Winkler, Erwin Winkler, the Winklers in the house, Jason Sosnoff, and Barry Levinson. It is executive produced by Pete Chiapetta, Mike Drake, Andrew Larry, Anthony Titonegro. It is associate produced by JJ Sasha and John A. Amacarella, and it is co-produced by Karen Kane. Okay, David Fleming took care of the music. Dante Spinotti is down with the cinematography. Douglas Chris edits the piece. Casting was handled by Ellen Chenoweth. Neil Spizak is production design. Art direction is Dins Danielson and Ian Scroggins. Anna Collijan is set decoration. Jeffrey Kurland is costume design. And then our cast. Let's go to the cast. Okie dokie. So, we have got Robert De Niro, right? Robert De Niro in his house. And he's playing two roles, right? He's playing Frank Costello and Vito Genovese, right? Frank Costello is married to Bobby Costello, played by Deborah Messing, who I'm watching this and I'm like, I know her, but I could not place the person. Deborah Messing, right? Catherine Naduki is Anna Genovese, who's married to Vito, right? The younger version of Frank is played by Luke Stanton Eddy. The younger version of Vito, played by Antonio Cipriano. We have also got where is the rest of the cast? Vincent Gigante is played by Cosmo Jarvis. Albert Antasia is played by Michael Rispoli. Charles W. Toby, played by Michael Adler. Rudolph Haley is played by Ed Amatrudo. Joe Prafaki, played by Joe Bassino. Carlo Gambino, played by James Sissone. Tommy Luches is played by Anthony J. Gallo. Right, Estes Kefur, played by Wallace Langham. We have got Frankie Boy, played by Belmont Camelli even. Joseph Bonanno, played by Louis Mustillo. Right, Richard Boardo, played by Frank Piccirillo. George Wolfe, played by Matt Savito. Anthony Strollo, aka Tony Bender, played by Robert Urcola. Is there anyone else? Oh, did we? Okay, so there's Paul Castellano, played by Brian Scorallo. Trooper Croswell, played by Mike Seeley. Lucky Luciano, played by Armedo Fusca. Victor Riesel, played by Bob Globerman. Joe Beck de Pelemo, played by Kimron Collins. Joe Barbara, played by John Dinello. His son, Joe Barbara Jr., played by Peyton Stockdale. Vicky Barbara, played by Jocelyn Sluka. Edwin Barry, played by Todd Covert. Harry Aslinger, played by Brian Spangler. Big John Armento, played by Alex Saifi. Trish Hawley, played by Christine McBurney. Okay, I think that... Oh, a younger version of Bobby is played by Sidney Mills. Right, so, yeah, I mean, that's most of our major players, right? I would say most of our major players. The premise, what is this film about? A power struggle between Vito Genovese and Frank Costello, the top bosses of the Mafia, spills into open conflict when Vito orders a hit on Frank. Barely surviving, Frank maneuvers to protect himself and his family from Vito, while also planning to retire from the Mafia. So that is the film, right? So when you look at the cast involved, when you look at everyone involved, it's straight hitters, right? Straight hitters. You know what I mean? Like, boy, Levinson. You know what I mean? He's directed some films. Good Morning Vietnam, Rain Man, Bugsy. Right? Disclosure, Sleepers, Wag the Dog, right? Sphere. Man, he's had some films, right? He co-executive produced Dope Sick. You know what I mean? Like, so much. Then you've got Pileggi, right? Nicholas Pileggi, who wrote Wise Guys, which Goodfellas is based on. He co-wrote Goodfellas, right? He wrote Casino and the book it's based on. He, again, involved in a lot of stuff. He executive produced American Gangster and The Irishman. So everyone involved has been on major shit. Great actors, right? So you kind of feel you have to love this film, you know? Although I didn't know what this was until just the other day, right? I avoid trailers, but I arrived slightly early for something, and there was a trailer for this. I'm like, oh shit, a new gangster film. Let me check it out. I mean, when you hear the title, though, the Alto Knights, right? Kind of think, like, the Alto Knights? Is it about a bunch of cats in pink armor? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? But no, it was basically it's a club which Frank and Vito went to. That's really it. You know, like, I don't know. It could have been called so many other things. Because the Alto Knights, it doesn't really factor into the film at all. Right? Doesn't factor into the film at all. And I think it's things like that that do have this film kind of slipping, because it looks good. It looks really good. The acting is really solid. We got some good acting here, you know? Like the crazy, there's, as I say, going in, I knew nothing about this, right? Knew nothing. And so I'm watching it. I know Robert De Niro's in it. That's kind of it. And so I'm watching, and at time I see there's, I should say, the film starts off with basically Frank, something happening to Frank. Then we go back to him and Vito growing up, and, kind of everything what led up to this point. And then it takes you to the end after that. After we get back to where this thing happens, we then take it to the end. So it's time watching this film. So when you first see it, you go, oh, Robert De Niro's Frank, right? Then I'm watching it, and at points you're watching Vito, and I'm like, wait, are we on Frank again? And you're like, no, this is Vito. And like, that looks like Robert fucking De Niro. Then I find out, once getting all the info together for this, Robert De Niro played both roles, right? But you kind of scratch your head as to why. Why have Robert De Niro play both? Because they're not brothers. They're not related. So you can have two actors. There's plenty of great actors. Have someone different, right? Have someone different. I mean, really, with how Vito is meant to be, you'd think like Joe Pesci, like someone like Joe Pesci would have been ideal, because when you think of Joe Pesci in and how unhinged he was, right? I think again in Casino, I believe that was Pesci's character too. That's what Vito is, right? So you want something like that in the role, right? That makes sense. And then, because they try and de-age De Niro with prosthetics and everything to play the kind of slightly younger versions of Frank and Vito. Again, why? Why? Just bring in some other good actors to do that. Now, obviously, their probably rationale is it's kind of cheaper if we do it this way, but it's just not that passable, right? And kind of when you think about, because I thought The Irishman was great, right? I thought The Irishman was great, but there was a lot about The Irishman with the de-aging aspects. They use CGI, right? And there was the bits when they're meant to be like stomping someone down, but the younger version, you can make someone look younger with the computer, but you can't speed up their movements. And an old person moves like an old person. You know what I mean? So that's where that shit always falls down. Right? Always falls down. And so you scratch your head at why? Why do it here? Doesn't make any sort of sense. I think the other thing with this film, because as I said, it looks really good. The acting is good. Like the costumes, right? Just the dressing of the scenes, all of this stuff works. All works. I think the problem being it feels very fragmented. As I say, like we jump back to really young Frank and Vito. And then we move, like they mention the Alto Knights. This is where they used to do things. But then we move forward. And we move forward again. And then so we never stay on a particular bit, really. And I think some of that would have probably been a little more compelling, right? To see, why Vito fled the country. Now, they show you a little bit, but that's it, right? Him going to where he went to, and then him coming back, right? And not getting power back straight away. Like, so what? Let's see this. And I think some of that would have been probably more interesting. And it also helps lay the groundwork a little bit more. And that's it. So you do think this might have worked more, impressively as a TV series, essentially. A limited series, do it, lay it out, really take that dive and look at these different parts of time. Right, maybe do that. So you have these different things, and then you've got Frank trying to make these maneuvers, right? Because we know where this film is headed, right? We know, so, and when certain things happen, you go, okay, that person's biting it, right? This isn't going to go how. But there's things where you just think, okay, I can see what's happening. If you're meant to be this top shotter, you should be able to see what's going to happen. But nothing is put in place, and you scratch your head like, why wouldn't you do so? You know what I mean? There's things that don't necessarily make any sort of sense. And so you're kind of like, these people aren't dumb. So why? Right? Why? And I think when certain repercussions come home, it's kind of, you get the feeling like, yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Right? That's part of the plan. But then on the other side, it wasn't part of the plan. So it's just like, wait, so what is happening here? What are we doing? What's the chess game? So it gets a bit muddy, a bit convoluted. It's just, I think, I don't know. With certain films, you leave the cinema and there's this lasting impression, right? Goodfellas, Casino, Donnie Brasco, Once Upon a Time in America. It's like there's so many good ones, and I know I've missed a few out, right? So many of these films, you're like, fuck, that was great. Oh man, what about that scene when that happened? Can you believe that? And you just think, like, there's not that. This doesn't stick with you. Doesn't stick with you. And that's a shame. Because on paper, when you see everyone involved, just all of the minutiae, this should work. All right, this should work. And it's based on a true story. Some of the things said, be like, oh shit, I remember that. I remember hearing about that. But yeah, for whatever reason, it's just a mess. And I do think De Niro in both roles, definitely a big part of it, right? Definitely a big part of it. Just why? It's just these weird choices that, and then the end of the film, can I just say, without, giving, it's, if you've read Dune Messiah, right? Dune was such a great book, and Dune Messiah, and it's so much smaller, right? So much smaller. But and you're reading, and it's so good. And you're thinking, wait, how are they going to tie this up as you get closer to the end? Because you're just like, wait, there's not many pages left. I don't know how we're wrapping this up. And then it's like dominoes. And it's just like, this is so fucking smart. Oh my gosh. And the play with this, it should be like that. It should be like, fuck. Oh man, that's genius the way this is all, a bit like in Usual Suspects, a guy's associate, you're like, oh my God. No, you do not get that here. You do not get it. And the big thing is as well, who the fuck is the narrator talking to? That's the big one. Who's the narrator talking to? Because that is just a weird. I think if you have the narrator talking to a person, and you don't have to reveal it at the beginning, at the end you're like bum bum bum. You're like, okay. Right? Even if they're telling the story to their grandkids or something like that. But yeah, you're just like, wait, who's the narrator talking to? Is one of those many baffling things about this film. But I don't know, man. If you liked Scarface the prequel. Man, oh shit. There was a prequel to Scarface. Diddy's in it. Puff motherfucking Daddy's in it. Oh, people. I mean, if you like that, then you're gonna like Alto Knights for sure. For sure. Right? But yeah, Alto Knights is in the cinema right now. So go see it if it sounds like it might be for you, and let me know what you think. Right? Am I wrong here? Did you really enjoy it? Do you think this is up there with all those other classic gangster films? Let me know, people. The Alto Knights.